Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Okay, our thought for the week is this. Our lives are defined by opportunities, even the ones we miss. And this is by an author, Scott Fitzgerald. Now then, again, we need to look at the person to understand where he's coming from here. He lived in the early part of the 20th century. He died when he was 44, so he wasn't very old. He lived through a difficult time because there was the First World War, there was the 1920s, and there was huge financial crises of that time. And the 1930s were all a tricky time, which led into the Second World War. So that is the span of his life, really. What is fantastic is because he was a writer, because he was this author, quite a prolific author, he is most famous for The Great Gatsby. Lots of his thoughts were written down, and he had a very ironic sort of life, so we can understand where he's coming from here. He was actually an alcoholic right from being quite a young man, so he struggled with that all the time. And with alcoholism, that in itself is full of irony. It starts off as a social thing, lots of fun, and you're the fun person to be around, and funny and all this. It's very funny because they're drunk and that. But it very quickly becomes something that takes over your life and can be really, and is, alcoholism is terrible. It destroys your relationships, your family, your friends, everything that is in your life, and then it eventually takes your life, and that's really what it did for him. So it's quite sad, quite poignant. He actually wrote, one of his sayings was this: you take a drink, then the drink has a drink, and then the drink takes you. So, you know, he understood what was going wrong in his life. But that's missed opportunities. We want to look at the opportunities that we can really, really grab a hold of. Now, people do mess up in their lives, and quite often we can listen to people who have really failed big time because they can say, just don't do this. I did this, don't do this. Don't miss your opportunities because you're doing something really negative. People think this quite a lot, and just this week I saw on Facebook somebody put on this little clever witticism, which I normally really hate. But there's taking a red pill or a blue pill, and this is like the Matrix film. And if you take a red pill, you can go back to the age of 10 and start all over again with all the knowledge and experience that you've gained through life. Now, for you guys, that's not a lot yet. But for someone in their 30s or 40s, they may think, well, that might be a good idea. The other pill was to go up to 50 and have 10 million quid in the bank. For me, that's going back a few years. That's a bit of a win-win situation. But do you know what? These are said in desperation, really. And it's thinking along these lines. It's because people know that they can miss opportunities, and they might have missed opportunities in their life. So they want to go back and do it all again. But it has been said about life, there are no dress rehearsals. You're right out there on stage without a script. So, do you know what? Our opportunities need to be grabbed. Quite often we just think of opportunities as financial things, but it's not. It's about relationships, decisions in business, decisions about buying houses or not buying houses. You know, there's so many decisions and there's so many opportunities. And we do live in a land of opportunity. The UK is a land of opportunity. We also never know what life has in store for us. We really don't. On a political level, a national level, we don't know about our health, and all sorts of things crop up. People come into our lives, people go out of our lives. So we really don't know. Sometimes there are difficult situations that we have to live through. It's sometimes looked at like a card game. and the cards that are dealt to us. What is your deal? You know, what is the card hand that you have? You can have a real good hand, or you can have a bad hand. So it's a difficult game. I love the quote from the Lord of the Rings, and Tolkien writes, it's a scene with Gandalf, and it's everything is really difficult. And he says, when somebody says to him, "Oh, I wish this had never happened," he says, "So do all who see such times. But this is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." And it's really quite profound, that is. For me, in my Christian way of life, I hang on to my faith and things Jesus said, like, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you as well. And for me, it's a filter for all of my decisions. And if I see an opportunity, what do I think? Is this a really good move? Is this the right thing to do? What would Jesus do? You know, it is a real filter for me. And we have to look for these filters, because life just happens. It happens anyway. And are we making good decisions or bad decisions? You will hear in your life, you may even say in your life, "I'm so glad I did that," or "I'm so glad I said that. It was an opportunity." And some will say, "I shouldn't have done that," or "I wish I hadn't have said that." You know, but you can't change things once they've happened. Okay then, so our lives are defined by opportunities, even the ones we miss. Think about that. God bless you. Have a fantastic week.